Test 1 2, test 1 2, test.
Okay. There you go.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the October 28th Envision SPPS listening session. Time is now 5:31. Going to begin. Public comment during today's listening session provides the opportunity to bring issues to the attention of the Board of Education. This is an opportunity for the board to listen. As a general rule, the board will not respond to any comments made by speakers. All speakers at this and future public comment sessions are encouraged to sign up in advance by completing the online public comment form, which is found on the Board of Education website at spps.org/BOE. Speakers may also sign up by contacting our interim board secretary at sarah.dalkey@spps.org or by calling 612-434-1105. After you have spoken, please email or send your comments to the board secretary. Audience members are asked to remain quiet during public comment so all may hear. Speakers are advised that any complaint or issue related to personnel must be made in writing. And the legal rights of staff, please do not include identifiers. For your own legal protection and the legal rights of staff, please do not include any identifiers of St. Paul Public Schools employees, such as names, job titles, grades taught, or work location. Each speaker is asked to complete their remarks in 3 minutes tonight. Each presentation will be timed. When time is up, speakers are asked to complete their statement immediately. If the presentation exceeds time, the speaker will be muted. Please note that for those using interpreter, a total of 5 minutes will be allotted for comments and interpretation. Please note 3 speakers will be called at the podium at a time, so they may make their way to the podium, stand in their designated area. Testing. If a large group wishes to address one subject, they may be asked to coordinate amongst themselves to present their subject within the time allotted by the chair. Speakers are asked to be respectful when making their presentations. Any disrespectful conduct by speaker will result in forfeiting your speaking time. Audience members are likewise expected to be respectful to speakers and our listening session process. For tonight, we ask that you remain quiet and seated as speakers are speaking. Please, no pacing back and forth. We ask that people who have signs, if you can't sit in the back or along the sides of the seating area. Finally, please wear a mask at all times. A face mask is required for all teachers, staff, students, and visitors, ages 2 years old and older, in all SPPS buildings, regardless of a person's vaccination status. If you do not have a face mask, you'll find extra masks at the door should you need one. Please begin by stating your name only. No additional information, such as address, is necessary. Our first speakers of the night are Noah Resk, Yasmin Muridi, and Abdullah Aden.
So what do I say first? I could just read it? My name is Noha Resk, and this is a speech I wrote to help save Howard Hills. Personally, I came from a neighborhood where I was not welcome or accepted for who I am. But when I came to Highwood Hills, it was like a second home to me. I felt like I belonged there, like I can relate to others. And not only the school is what's great, the staff teach you manners and discipline and teach us to be a leader, a role model. But if you close the school, that's like breaking apart a family and making them go in a separate way, shutting the doors to younger students having a bright future ahead of them. That's why we should save Highwood Hills. Thank you.
Thank you, Noah.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. I think I need to take off. Yeah. Hi, my name is Yasmin Muridi, and I'm bilingual education assistant at Highwood Hill. But I am a community member, so this decision is ridiculous and lacks compassion. Closing our school will be a disaster for our parents. Our parents have been through so many challenges over the past 18 months. After the return to school, we were supposed to help our family to move past those difficulties. The loss of loved one, loss of job, the helplessness of not being able to pay rent. We are supposed to help this family leave trauma in the past, not create it new and avoid unavoidable trauma. Our family needs a stability, not unpredictability. Our school isn't just a school. It is the heart of so many communities. Somali, Oromo, Spanish, Afghanistan, Amharic, Arabic, Swahili, French, Sonivet, and English speakers. That include the rec center. I was introduced to Highwood Hills in 2008 when the Somali community fought to reopen the rec center for our family. Mayor Melvin Carter listened and reopened the center. It was as if God heard our prayer. Community members know how special and important the recreation center is for our children. Imagine during Ramadan, several people from Somali community located in the east side were giving their precious time to give back. They were fasting for 18 hours, doing their regular job, and then after the war, going to the Highwood Hill Rec Center to support our youth and make sure they were safe. I'm finished. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Yasmin. Our next three speakers are Denali Massey, Sai Tao, Stephanie Anderson.
I'm short, so sorry. Hello, my name is Saitao, and I'm here this evening with my son Thi.
Hey guys, what's up?
We are here to tell you if you vote yes on November 16 without a plan to open up another middle school with an autism classroom in our area A, then you will be forcing my son Thi to get his academic needs met somewhere else come fall of 2022. Let me tell you about my son Thi. Thi was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3 years old. He is now a 7th grader at Parkway Middle School, and he loves it there. You love it there, right, Thi?
Yeah, I do. It has good memories. But if you all close Parkway, I'm literally gonna be in rage mode.
Thi is in a federal setting 3 classroom with about 8 other students. Some of these students has been learning with Thi since early childhood special education at Highwood Hills. That's 10 long years of learning together. And one of those students is Thi's very best friend. After learning that they both might not be together after this year, they're devastated. If you vote yes to close down Parkway Middle School without a plan to open up another middle school with an autism classroom in our area A, then you'll be separating Thi from his best friend and his longtime classmates. He'll be forced to leave our area A and go to another school with the federal setting 3 classroom. If you know anything about autism, then you know that continuity is very critical for those on the spectrum to succeed. Continuity is how they learn their academics, work with their teachers, make friends with their peers, and understand how they belong in our community. I request that a plan for how special education for fellow setting 3 students be addressed before the school board votes on November 16. Thank you.
Thank you, Sai.
I'm Stephanie Anderson, and I'm the mom of 2 kids in the Spanish immersion program at Wellstone Elementary. My son is in 4th grade, and my daughter is in 1st. We've been at Wellstone since my son was in pre-K. When we started at Wellstone, we lived in the North End. We've since moved from the North End, but the thought of leaving Wellstone was never even crossed our mind. Wellstone is a sustainable school with a thriving community that does not meet the district's own criteria for closure. What precedent are we setting if at any point the district can propose to close a sustainable school? A plan such as this that proposes to make a huge change to the Spanish immersion program in St. Paul schools must include all Spanish immersion programs in the district. And as you know, one immersion program was not even factored into this plan. Further, any plan that proposes such a huge change must include community engagement. And you also know that neither the Wellstone nor the North End communities were engaged in this process. This is unimaginative and sloppy at best, and quite possibly dangerously inequitable and racist. Is this the type of proposal the board wants to sign on to? I agree. I think you are better than that. I wish you could see the way my kids bound up the stairs at Wellstone every morning. I wish you could see how she cried the other day when she had to miss a half a day of school. I wish you could go into that building yourselves and see the love in the community, the way that the teachers and the staff love and care for the students, and the way that they care and respect each other.
And our teachers are the best teachers ever.
I agree. I know Chief Turner and her team have repeatedly asked you to focus on the data, and I get data. I have a master's in public health with a focus in epidemiology. I get data. But we're dealing with kids here, kids that have hearts and souls and minds, and kids that we are trying to send out into the world to change the world and make their communities better. And I can't think of a better place to do that, to prepare these kids, than Wellstone Elementary. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Our next 3 speakers are Tracy Tomberlin, William Palmer, Mary Anderman.
Hello and good evening. Buenas noches. My name is Tracy Tomberlin. I'm a parent of a Wellstone 4th grader and a 1993 Como Cougar. Since my son entered Wellstone as a pre-K student 5 years ago, he's built amazing friendships. He's been supported by strong and caring multilingual teachers and staff. The dedication of these wonderful humans who love and care for my son and each and every one of his classmates every day as if they were their own is everything. Splitting up Wellstone's dual immersion and BioSmart programs and moving them to the west side and throughout the district would force me to pull my son from SPPS altogether. When my family moved out of St. Paul 2 years ago, we made the decision to keep our son at Wellstone so he could continue at the school he loves, the school we love. We would be unable to transport him the extra distance. Please don't break up our school and force this choice upon us. Wellstone is a pillar in the North End community. It always has been since I can remember. My mom graduated from Washington, formerly Wellstone, back in 1968. I attended Washington Junior High in the late 80s. I love the fact that my son is the third generation in my family making wonderful memories inside these same walls. The only difference being the name of the school, changing to Paul and Sheila Wellstone. I feel it is a tremendous honor for our students to attend this school. It fills me with pride to know that our students learn about the good work of our late Senator Paul Wellstone and his wife Sheila. Please don't take that away from our kids. Please don't take that away from our North End community. We are one Wellstone community. According to the district's own criteria, we already have a well-rounded and sustainable school. So this simply doesn't make sense. Our Spanish dual immersion kids are important to this community. Our BioSmart kids are also important to this community. Wellstone is a warm and wonderful place for our kids to learn. As a parent, I do not feel that these programs are mediocre. I feel that they are fantastic, and I know many parents who feel the same way. This is where we belong, and we want to stay. Please show your support for our students, staff, and families. Please vote no to the Envision SPPS recommendation. And I welcome the opportunity to engage with any of the board members at a further time. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy.
Directors, thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is William Palmer, and I have 2 kids at Wellstone. The Envision team has repeatedly asked us to set aside our emotions and look at the data. The problem is, they seem to be unable to do this themselves. They have become advocates rather than advisors, manipulating data rather than making a recommendation and letting the data speak for itself. They cherry-pick data. For instance, in the October 11th presentation to the board, they showed a slide demonstrating more Hispanic kids live near Wellstone than Riverview. On their website, the same slide purporting to be from October 11th shows only the general Hispanic population. In another instance of manipulation, Chief Turner has repeatedly said the average distance increase is only about a mile. She doesn't say that this is a 50% increase or tell us how much additional time is added to students' bus rides going through downtown St. Paul. The worst deception, though, is a lie of omission. The district has no data on the risks this plan presents because they chose not to collect it. Because they wanted to keep the plan secret until it was too late to change, they never asked parents of existing or prospective students where they would send their kids if Wellstone closes. This brings me to a major point of failure of this plan. It has no risk analysis. What are possible points of failure and how can they be avoided or mitigated? The plan they present assumes 100% compliance with district suggestions. Given what we've heard from parents, this obviously won't happen. Since they didn't collect any data, we don't know how many students this plan will drive away. I'm worried that if the plan doesn't initially create sustainable schools, they will never recover, since parents will rightly avoid putting their kids in schools at risk of closure. The worst case scenario for me is that this destroys the Spanish dual language program entirely by throwing away a successful program to create one that's unsustainable. So, if this plan isn't workable, what do we do? Well, this isn't our job. We didn't have over a year to work on it. But there are alternatives that Envision team never considered. The Envision team never considered anything but closing schools. What if we had traveling specialists or other ways to round out the education of smaller schools? And despite what the district has said, this is not a package deal. You can commit to individual changes that make sense without buying into the whole plan, and you can ask for more time to fix the plan if needed. Wellstone is, by the Envision team's own definitions, a successful, sustainable, and well-rounded school. The proposal has very little upside potential and will certainly result in the loss of an efficient school. On the other hand, if you reject this part of the plan, there will continue to be a well-rounded dual-language Spanish immersion program available in the district. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mary Anderman, and I'm with you all on the Wellstone. But I want to bring up something else, too. I would like to put in a suggestion to put in cameras in all the classrooms and outdoor playground areas around all the schools. This would protect teachers and students from any false accusations. Also allow all parents to be able to zoom in at any time to see how their kids are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Before I call up the next speaker, I want to reiterate that please do not name employees in the districts. Next three speakers are Tanya Drawn, Kulia Pringle, Omar Saeed.
Good evening, Board Chair Fu, Superintendent Gothard. My name is Kulia Pringle. I am the Midwest Puerto Rican Regional Organizer for National Parents Union. And I just was here just to say two things on Envision. From the parents that I've spoke to, they are asking that the board postpones the vote. St. Paul Public School District has known about Envision for a while and sort of just dropped the bomb on them, and they haven't felt like they've had time to even comprehend what's happening with Envision or even understand what the plan is. My second thing is I'm just concerned that Envision has not or doesn't explain how it's going to help with any disparities. As we know, Black children are experiencing the worst disparities in, say, public schools when it comes to academic outcomes, suspensions, special education reference, not seeing teachers that look like them, and not receiving a curriculum that is culturally responsive to their culture. So those are my two main concerns with Envision. One, that it does not address any disparities when it comes to Black children, and two, it doesn't give community a time to even understand what Envision is. And I also stand in solidarity with the LEAP community as well as Wellstone.
Thank you, Kulia.
Hello, my name is Tonya Drawn. I am the Minnesota delegate for National Parent Union and also executive director for Uplift Minnesota. I work closely with Kulia Pringo to really give parents and students an opportunity to voice their concerns about everything that's happening in the district. And yes, this was a huge bomb dropped on parents that left them just reeling with uncertainties about what's going to happen. So I'm just coming here today just to say we need you, we implore you to delay the vote. Give parents a chance to really understand what you are trying to do. Give parents a chance to really voice their opinions, and give parents a chance to really tell you how important it is that these schools remain open. I want you to just be open to what you're listening to with these parents. Try to think of some structured ways to really make this work instead of closing these schools. Bring more community members into these rooms. Bring more community groups into these schools if you need to. Rent out those spaces, but don't close the schools. You have packed rooms to tell you this is not what they want. This is not what they need. And I think that you need to listen to them, because otherwise what they'll do is they'll sit there and they'll say, maybe this board isn't speaking for the parents and the families for St. Paul Public Schools, and maybe they need to be voted out. So I just implore you to really listen, to open up your ears, to think and brainstorm, think big. You just got a whole bunch of ESSER money, and it's not relating to parents that you have all this money, but now you're closing schools. So if you're going to go do all this, then you need to take time. You need to take the time that parents have asked you to and delay this vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya.
Good evening, board members. My name is Omar Sayed. I am here to support Highwood Hills. I know you already decided to close Highwood Hills, but please delay it. Our community there is most of them 70% is Somalis, and I'm very sad to see that the school are closed. And please delay your vote on next month. Think about it. Whatever you do here today is gonna hurt this community. Please delay the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar. Our next three speakers are Jacqueline Thomas, Jennifer Davis, Joe Nathan.
Excuse me, I can take them.
I'll give you a moment to pass that around. Since this is a good education, we want to make sure that people have accurate information. So I'm going to just take 30 seconds to make sure that you each have a copy of the document that now more than 100 people in St. Paul have signed. I have a question for the people in the room. How many of you want to close Wellstone? No. How many of you want to keep Wellstone open? How many people in the room want to close LEAP? How many people want to keep LEAP? How many of you want to keep LEAP open? How many of you want to close Highwood Hills? How many of you want to keep Highwood Hills open? Now I'm going to ask the school board members, how many people have called you and asked you to close Highwood Hills? How many have asked you to close Wellstone? How many have asked you to close LEAP? In front of you is some research that I presented with the budget director at the budget committee for 2 years in a row, and I asked year after year, where's the research to show that these large schools are safer? Never a response. Larger schools are not safer. Larger schools are less safe. The research is there. It's been presented to you. I'd be glad to do it again. Where is the research that shows that you will save money with larger schools? It's not there. It was presented at the budget committee. I asked for a response for 2 years in a row. Several of you said, well, wait a minute, aren't there other reasons besides blaming the teachers and the class size mandate for people leaving the district? And of course the answer is, of course, yes. You can see what's happened in the district over the last 10 years. You can see what's happened in the district for the last 4 years when thousands of people left. They left because of a whole lot of reasons, including safety. What is it that we're talking about with well-rounded education? We can't be sure. We don't know. We asked one of your board members, one of your staff members 2 days ago and got, well, it's so many people in math and so many people in science and so many people in social studies and so many people in art. Isn't it more than that? How about field trips? How about service learning? How about other things? This district is at a critical moment. Some of us have pleaded for 5 years. Why did it take so long to have a year and a half to create a strategic plan? Some of you have heard for 5 years people coming to this podium and pleading for fully culturally informed education. We still don't have it. Why not? We're a year away from even having a single course that would be required that would be inclusive, as Mr. Broderick and others have encouraged us to have. Why, when we take a year and a half for a strategic plan, when we take 4 years and don't still have culturally informed education, why is it that we have to take 2 months to transform the city?
Joe Nathan, your time is up. There are some folks that I called. They're not here yet. I will circle back to them. The next three speakers are Jason Dressen, Nora Shields Cutler, Paula Copeland.
My name is Jason Dressen, a proud parent of 3 past and present Wellstone Elementary students. Your stated goal is to create well-rounded schools. Closing or merging 5 underutilized schools to further that goal and keeping additional schools from possible elimination in the near future. In 2015, significant resources were spent to attract additional students to underutilized schools, and those schools remain underutilized. Evidently, those resources were not well spent. Our school district's resources are finite. Its budgetary struggles are well known. As the elected stewards of our school system, the school board must figure out how to best allocate those finite resources to ensure the system's continued health. Metaphorically speaking, the school system is a garden. The school board, its gardeners. And within that metaphor is my point. Smart gardeners know it makes no sense to do away with a healthy plant to try and save a struggling plant.
Thank you.
A struggling plant is removed so the healthy plant may continue to thrive, and the garden's resources are no longer ill spent trying to sustain the struggling plant. Wellstone Elementary is a healthy plant, and it is already a well-rounded school. It teaches their students to be bilingual and gives them a good foundation in the STEM subjects, all increasingly vital skills in our world. Wellstone's culture is unique. It cannot be bottled. It cannot be packed up and transferred to another school. Its population is a snapshot of today's St. Paul and tomorrow's. Children of all ethnicities and backgrounds come to Wellstone to learn not only their school subjects, but to learn that we all do better when we all do better, as Senator Wellstone taught us. Isn't that the goal of this process? Don't we want to ensure every student is getting a strong education in our schools, in an open and safe community, with a positive and affirming culture underneath it all? If so, then why do away with a school that is already checking those boxes? Ladies and gentlemen of the board, be smart gardeners. Wellstone is healthy. Let it continue to thrive in your garden. Let its students continue to bear fruit in our community. I'm grateful for your time and attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the St. Paul School Board. My name is Paula Copeland, and I have just this summer moved to St. Paul from Des Moines, Iowa. I'm the mother to 6 kids, so their education, both social and scientific, are frequently on my mind. I chose Wellstone with care once we finalized the details of our move because of its proximity to the community and the diversity of its student body. We were glad to learn of the low student-to-teacher ratio and the tradition of education, which is part of Senator Wellstone's legacy. Although we only started attending the school this year, I have been affected in positive ways through the staff's work. Schools are strongest when they're tied to their community. According to U.S. News, 81% of students are economically disadvantaged at Wellstone, and my family is considered among that majority. I have been here less than 3 months, but in that time, Wellstone has offered resources for food, mental health assessments, activities, and vaccines, some of which we have used, some not. But I was grateful either way that they were available. The closeness of the school has meant that my kids can walk to school more independently and learn responsibilities thereof. Responsibilities such as safety, acting well when adults are not hovering, awareness of their surroundings, and being cognizant of time in order to be at school when required. These are the skills that cannot be graded, ranked, analyzed, or lauded, but I challenge anyone to say that their community becomes richer with their loss. How are students helped by taking away resources? My birth state, Iowa, used to be the first in the nation in education, the standard by which all states ranked their education. Charter schools in the intervening years have become more attractive to families, which compounded the population loss from public schools. Then the cuts to more funds ad infinitum. Now, Iowa is ranked 20th. I am dismayed to see what appears to be the same thing happening here, especially as I find that 17 new charter schools are planned for construction in the next 2 years. This SPPS Envision recommendation surprised and saddened me in the midst of moving, having a baby, etc. The more I talked with staff and other parents, though, the greater impression I got that such a proposal was written with no input from the community, and I hope this evening remedies that oversight. I understand the need to evaluate budgets and to meet needs where they exist, but I hope you understand my skepticism to the claim that Wellstone is under-enrolled. When I tried to enroll my twin boys into the Wellstone pre-K program, I was told point blank that it was full. I hope you understand my skepticism to the claim of helping students when I've seen no plan beyond closing schools, hoping that money will appear. I close my thoughts tonight with Senator Wellstone's idea on our communities, and hence country's focus for the future. Quote, the kind of national goal we ought to be thinking about is way beyond national product. It's how do we as a nation help our children to be the best kinds of people they could possibly be. For the sake of our own community and our children, I ask that the school board vote to keep Wellstone a visible part of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.
I'll email it.
My name is Nora. My son is a student at Wellstone Elementary. I believe Wellstone's situation is unique in a whole variety of ways that have been highlighted for you all tonight and on previous nights, but in the interest of time, I want to focus specifically on my concerns about Spanish dual language immersion access within St. Paul, data, and this decision-making process. I believe dual language immersion to be a unique and profound asset to students attending St. Paul Public Schools. The dual language programs, I believe, are great opportunities for both Spanish language and English language learners. I commend the Envision idea of convening groups to discuss long-term implications and ideas for supporting strong language immersion programs. However, these long-range conversations have not been used in a way to support long-range planning, incorporate community voice, and build a supportive environment for language immersion in St. Paul Public Schools, but are instead being used to immediately condense programs. These conversations are just now being rushed through with Spanish immersion programs, and to my knowledge have engaged a small and select group of individuals instead of having a larger conversation. I believe that the extremely limited community voice incorporated in this proposal and lack of effort to move toward collaboration using the spectrum of participation indicated by the Envision team is both short-sighted and profoundly damaging to community trust and support for St. Paul Public Schools. Finally, I want to voice my concern with how data is being wielded in this process. The numbers tell you the what, and the people tell you why. The what doesn't line up for Wellstone, and the why hasn't been explored through community engagement with interested parties regarding the future of St. Paul, nor thinking larger about what a sustainable, integrated, supportive environment entails beyond staffing in school buildings and access to specialists. It is insulting to the urgency and complexity of this situation to propose that this must be all or nothing. This denies school differences in data, the implications of each school closure, and the benefits afforded or removed from families in school closures. Excuse me. Condensing dual language Spanish immersion solely to the west side would represent a huge loss for students around the city. Closing Wellstone's sustainable school, providing a well-rounded education, is an insult to the assertion that data is central to this decision and the variety of family and community realities that need to be held alongside the data. I urge the board to acknowledge this complexity, to center community voice, and vote no on this proposal. I would welcome responses and feedback and further conversation from the board, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nora. Next three speakers are Pang Xiong, Michelle Go, Jeff Garcia.
Hello, everybody. My name is Pang, and I'm a teacher from Jackson Elementary. I'm here to represent my community, students and families that cannot be here due to difficulties finding daycare and transportation. I'm a product of St. Paul Public Schools myself, a graduate from Johnson Senior High School class of 2014. I came back to teach for SPPS because I wanted to give back to the district that I grew up in and love so much. First of all, Director Broderick brought up 2014 in the last school board meeting. So I'll take us back even further to 2008 to 2009. The proposal of closing down Jackson and other schools has been giving me flashbacks and a bit of anxiety back to 2008, 2009. I myself was a student of SPPS at the time in one of the schools that was projected to close. I still remember the struggles we went through as a community fighting for our beloved school. It is disheartening to hear that over a decade later, I am still here fighting the same fight. Only now I am the teacher and not the student. First of all, Jackson is the only elementary school located in Frogtown, along with many charter and private schools in the same area. My classroom this year is a mix of African American, Hmong, Karen, Hispanic, and Somali students. We are able to embrace each other's differences and cultures and learn to our full potential because of the smaller classroom size. You all often wonder why teachers become burnt out, yet you want to consolidate everyone to only a few buildings. Why not keep these community schools open, promote the smaller classroom sizes, and how much more support our students are able to receive in these environments? Why not listen to the needs of our students, families, and communities? Why not give us educators more support in the classrooms to help our future flourish? I understand that you all have a lot to consider statistically through data, but morally and ethically, you are breaking apart many communities and creating inconsistencies for our students who need that stability in order to be successful. We preach that we want equity for our students to have identity. However, you are failing to answer the social and emotional aspects of this proposal and making it feel as though we are all just a bunch of numbers. In my classroom, my fourth grade classroom, we are currently working on our persuasive essays. And it was an optional to write letters to the Superintendent Gothard. A lot of them has chosen to write you letters personally, Superintendent, and I would like for you to read each one of them. One of them personally asks you, why don't you and your family come to Jackson to see what we're all about? So if you ever do come, I think they would appreciate seeing you there, and they would have a lot of questions for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pang.
Hi, I am Michelle Gold, teacher from Jackson Elementary as well, located in the heart of Frogtown. I have been at Jackson for over 30 years, and I am here representing the many, many wonderful families who also have a history of attending Jackson School. We are a school of many cultures, but one community. And as you have heard tonight, the importance that a school is for the community. That's why all of these people are here tonight. It's their community, and it doesn't develop overnight. We value and appreciate one another. We look forward to our yearly World Cultures Day. We are two programs in one school with many diverse students who value one another and have developed those bonds with one another. They feel connected and cared for. This does not happen overnight. It's a result upon lasting relationships that are trusted to bring about degrees of caring and connectedness. Our students do not need more change in their lives. They need stability. We would love to grow our school, not close our school. Our vision is attracting new students who currently attend the many charter and private schools in the area. We realize the importance of relationships, and we value the social and emotional well-being in order to raise achievement and restore equity. We desire a school that offers stability for families that are working hard to make a living, and they may move during the school year. Our students deserve more. Justice for our students by keeping stability in their lives and offering them transportation, no matter where they may locate in St. Paul. Education is their support in their path to a bright future. When Jackson was a magnet school, our enrollment was double what it is today. With the changing of the boundaries, we lost many of our families that enrolled for generations. We have let our families down, and now we are going to do it again. Unless you help, Jackson Community and Hmong Dual Language School needs your support and consideration to grow, not close. Please do what is right and equitable for our students. They need you to listen. We need to be heard. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Michelle.
Good evening, board members. My name is Jeff Garcia. I'm a teacher at Parkway Montessori Middle School, and this is my third year. I've been involved with Parkway for 4 years, and many of the people that I work with have been involved with it from the beginning. And many are not here tonight because they've been fighting for Parkway since it opened. The first cohort of Parkway teachers, many of whom are still there and many of whom have moved on in frustration, were offered what's called CM STEP training, which is essentially a secondary Montessori certification based out of the University of Cincinnati. Despite what it says on the Parkway website, and it's probably been updated since then, new staff, including myself and many of my coworkers, have not had access to CM STEP essentially since that first cohort. And that includes other people that I work with that have multiple years in the district. We've had to teach each other. But much of our Montessori material that was promised lies there like a broken promise in different classrooms and different cabinets because a lot of what Envision talks about is sustainability. That Parkway Montessori is not a sustainable middle school on its own because just the secondary Montessori is too expensive to maintain. But if we're not being trained and if we're not being fostered in how we do our schedule and how we allocate our resources, how can a program be sustainable if nobody is invested in sustaining it? East Side kids, which make up the majority of the students that we serve at Parkway, though we get kids from the West Side, from Highland, from all over the district, they deserve an innovative magnet program too. And by closing Parkway, you're closing a small, agile school with dedicated parents, dedicated educators who have stuck around despite all the difficulty. And you're ignoring that we live in an abundant state. There are many entities here that could help provide funding for all these programs, for every single school in St. Paul. We have other options besides austerity. Board members, you were elected to listen to the community, and the community is telling you that we need a different plan. You were not elected to listen to the C-suite. Remember what your charge is, and remember that there are families behind all of these decisions. It is worth taking the time to do this right, and Parkway matters too. All schools in this process matter. We can afford our programs, and we can afford quality for all our students. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Next three speakers are Abdi Barkad, Bashir Azmual, and Terry Tao.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Abdi Barkat. I live Highwood Hills, and I have two kids go there to school. I have a question before I start my comments tonight. Is anyone of you like to vote out in the upcoming election? The answer is no. If you guys close our school, we will vote you out too. Keep in your mind that. We will vote you out if you close Highwood Hills. After that, our school is under attack by school board. Our school is under discrimination because they are black student, Muslim student, immigrant student, and our school doesn't deserve to close. Our kids feel safe at school because it has a rec center that St. Paul Mayor Carter opened in 2018. Also, it is close to the neighborhood. Our school has high quality education, and teachers work for our students, and they provide education that they need to reach the gap for the wealthy people. And we need to keep open our school if you can. But if you close, we will fight against you, and we keep them out, vote all of them who's seeking re-election this term or who's going to vote for next term, because we need to hear our voices too. Our voices is a matter. Our kids is a matter. Our school is a unique. We need John Dr. Joe to investigate our school. The waiting list, they told us the waiting list is closed to letter parentheses, but the waiting list is not a close. And they saying your school enrollment declines. I ask you personally to go that and investigate the person who give you that report. That person discriminating us because of we are black Muslim immigrant.
Thank you, Mr. Barkad.
Good evening. My name is Terry Tao, and I'm the mother of two children, a sixth grader and an eighth grader, both of whom are students at Parkway Montessori Middle School. I'm a proud St. Paul Public Schools graduate and an East Side resident, as well as the president of the Parkway PTO. I was actually part of the Envision committee that was looking at the Montessori pathways, but it was really clear from day one that we were given data about our declining enrollment. While we discussed the many reasons about the declining enrollment, no official exit information was given. It's really important to state that 9 years ago, when the district created Parkway, which was in response to a parent demand, the school was never set up for success. To keep classes at optimal size, we enrolled students who did not come from Montessori elementary schools. So it meant that those students were not being set up for success either. It wasn't until this year, finally, with my son as a sixth grader, that we finally have schools with all Montessori students. And earlier this year, the Pathways was reconvened, and at any point, we never said close Parkway. We said make it different options. If we didn't need the full Montessori model, that was fine. I felt like folks were cherry picking our comments to make sure it fit with the plan. And at the same time, the enrollment figures were given as testimony. Just like we don't want our students' test scores to be the only indicator of success, enrollment numbers shouldn't be the indicator at school viability as well. It feels like the district is punishing families who choose to stay at the schools. The sudden decision is to close the schools this year is abrupt and disrespects our families. And when these decisions are made, families leave the district. We're proud the Parkway is on the east side. A number of schools slated to close on the east side. This is not fair to our families who are on the east side who deserve excellent schools too. As added insult, we were told that there's going to be a middle school that's going to be connected to a Montessori school. It will not be a Montessori school, but because it's in a more central part of town and more appealing to other families, is highly problematic. I don't also understand how we are closing these schools will lead to increased racially equitable outcomes. I went to those class sizes at Ramsey and Central where we had lots of students. There's no guarantee. Last but not least, the corporate manner in which this decision was made is not what public schools should be doing. The shareholders are taxpayers who are families like mine and many others across the city. And while we understand that the district is balancing tensions as well as the books, this should not come at the harm and expense of our families. I urge you to, again, hold off the plan and do not close these schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. I'm calling the next three speakers. Kadau, Omar, Laila, and Ahlam. I was just going to say that. I need to periodically say for speakers not to mention it. Okay.
Hi, my name is Ahlam and I'm currently at Highwood Hills. I hope this school does not close because I think is amazing. I feel like my friends know how I feel and respect me, so I really hope we can save Highwood Hills.
Thank you, Ahlam.
Hi, my name is Layla Tony. I came to Highwood Hills when I was in pre-K. All the years I've been there, it was amazing. It felt welcoming, friendly, and heartfelt. When I found out that it was closing, I was really sad. And when I was struggling, there was always someone to help me. I can never miss a day at Highwood Hills. So please keep Highwood Hills.
Thank you, Lala.
Can I give it to them so they can read it?
Hello, my name is Katra Umar. I'm a mother of 4 kids. My kids, they go to Highwood Hills Elementary School. And actually, my kids, some of them, they start pre-K. My daughter, she is sitting here. She is 5th grade right now. And I apply my other child to school. And when I called the placement center, they told me every day, the school is full. They're not accepting kids. When I asked them, my child, they waiting list for long time. Even they're not talking to me nicely. And I leave the message every single day until the school is open until now. And they telling me the school is full. They're not accepting kids. Not only me, a lot of my friends even, they are on waiting list for Highwood Hills. And we are refugee and we are close to school. Even sometimes when I can't drive, I walk to the school. It's very close to us. When we are voting for president, for you guys, we go to school and vote for you guys. And when the COVID-19 comes, shot, we take it over there. COVID test, we do over there. When the COVID-19 started, the school, they help us, they give us food. There's a lot of community goes to school, not only Somali community. There's a lot. And please, we need the school open, not close for school. And we need you guys to investigation placement center because the problem is over there, not us. Even you guys, we are parents. I am a parent of 4 kids. I'm really emotional. The day you guys telling us the school is gonna be closed until now, I don't sleep. I can't go far away. The school is close to me. Please. I'm sorry. Please. Please. I want this Highwood Hills to be open. And you guys investigate it. And you guys tell us the reason you guys closing for school. I just hear the school is going to be closed. They don't have enough kids. And you guys, that's what I hear for it. And you guys, you didn't tell us. We are parents. You guys, you didn't tell us the reason you guys closing for the school. Please, talk to the placement center. And my kids, they are on waiting list. My son. And it's not accepting. Even they're not answering the phone. It's not only me. There's a lot of families sitting here. And they are on waiting list. Even my sister, she's on waiting list. Please, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kadal. Next three speakers are Susanna Ayala, Roniya, Suhab Ahmad. Oh, what about?
Hello, my name is Rania Abdakim. I'm from Highwood Hills. I love Highwood Hills. It has been a whole generation. It means a lot to me. I am a 5th grader. It breaks my heart to see Highwood Hills close. Teachers and staff are very careful and nice. Highwood Hills is like a home to me. My name is Rania. Keep Highwood Hills open. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Susanna Ayla, and I'm from Highwood Hills. I'm here because I want to keep Highwood Hills open. The reason I want to keep it open is because it's a great school. I've been in Highwood Hills since pre-K, and I want my brothers to finish 5th grade at Highwood Hills. All the teachers and staffs at Highwood Hills want us to be successful. They want us to work hard, but also have fun while it lasts. I also promised one of my teachers that I would graduate college. I'd say that if I graduate college, I would say I couldn't have done it without Highwood Hills. And Highwood Hills accepts all sorts and kinds of students, and I really respect that. I hope that Highwood Hills will stay open and make more memories. Highwood Hills cares for our safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Susanna.
Hi, my name is Shoaib Ahmed. I don't think you guys should go with Howard Hills. Howard is a community and a family. Clothing will separate the family, and I don't think you should separate the family. Howard supports my family, and it's a generation. I was in Howard Hills. I went to Howard Hills pre-K to 4th grade. Now I'm in 6th grade. I miss my teacher, and I hope you guys don't close Howard Hills.
Thank you. Next three speakers are Sumaya Ahmad, Ba Sao, Quay Now.
Do we have to keep the Facebook page? Okay.
Hi, my name is Samaya Ahmed. So when I first came to America, the first school I went to was Highwood Hills. Highwood Hills, I came to Highwood Hills 2013 and I graduated Highwood Hills 2014. It's me and my four brothers, Yaya, Suhaib, Salman, and Zachariah, which my brother graduated 2021. He went to Harding Senior High School. And now I go to I go to Harding Senior High School too. I'm a senior this year too. So 1 second. And and my two sisters go to Highwood Hills now. This one right here and this one right over here. And so I wasn't like happy about the school closing, and also for the families too over here, um, like not feeling happy about the school to close. And my sister over here is learning new things as well. And every day she comes home, I always help her with her things and everything. And now she's understanding everything. And I was very happy for her that she's understanding everything at school. And yeah, and my little baby sister as well. She's learning like some new words every day. She comes up with like new words that I've never heard from her. And we're just happy for our families. And today I came here to speak for myself and for my family as well, for not to close Highwood Hills. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Sumaya.
magacaygu waa baxsan xasan
My name is Bahsan Hassan.
waxaan ka mid ahay waalidka iskuulka carruurtoodu dhigato
I'm one of the community who their children attend this school.
kuwaan dhalay baa iskuulka ku dhameeyey oo jaamacada dhigta
My children graduate from Hayden Wood School, right?
waxaan u baahannahay waa meeshaan ka codayno
Hayden Wood Hill, it's a community support school. That's the place we process our voting. That's where we get our shots, and that's where we get all the help we need as a community.
waa meesha ciyaalku noogu ciyaaraan
That's where our children get the activity. That's where they play basketball. That's where they make all their activity.
waa iskuul safety oo fiican waxbarashadiisuna fiican tahay
It's a safe place for our children.
meel kale oo naqaana ma jirto maraykan waxaan joogaa 17 sano halkan soo degay baan deganahay
I have been living in St. Paul 17 years, and that's the place I know.
xalay 4 baan shaqo u kacay weli sidii baan u socdaa maana gurigii maana gaadhin
Last night I wake up 4 a.m. and I haven't been at home yet.
carruurtan iyadoo haba hadda la dhigata
My grandchildren are attend this school right now.
marka waan bilis waxaan iskuulka yana laga xidhin
I'm asking you again and again, please don't close the doors of our school.
waan idinka codsanaynaa
I ask you and beg you again and
waxaan
again.
idinku faadgaraynaa idinku codayna inaad wax noo qabataan
The reason we're voting for you is that to accept our ask, and we like you guys to respect our concern, and why we want you to look further and don't make a quick decision that ruined our lives.
dad badan oo baabuur wadin baa jirta iskuulku uu noo dhow yahay almaaga waad soo lugayn kartaa hadduu xanuunsado waad ka kaxaysan kartaa
We don't have reliable transportation. We go that school by walking.
aad baan idin salaamay waad mahadsantihiin
I'm appreciate for your listening and your time. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, board members. My name is Guai Kenyao. I'm a former LEAP student, graduated in 2019. I'm here today to make my 4 points about LEAP so that y'all can take this into consideration. My first point is being that LEAP, there's no other place like LEAP. I know that board members are talking about putting current LEAP students into other programs. But then I'm here to tell you that I can guarantee that there's no other place like LEAP. Those ones will get the support and services that they need. There's only LEAP that can support them. My second point is that most students learn better in smaller classes, and so LEAP has that. So closing down LEAP will eventually hurt all of the students that are currently attending LEAP. And so I want you, the board members, to think about that, because if you really care about students learning, then you should, keep LEAP open. My third point is that LEAP is home, because LEAP is a place where the staff accept the cultures and the practices that students bring to the classroom, and we feel accepted at LEAP. And so it's a home to us. My last point is that by considering taking LEAP out of the equation is basically stating that we're not important, our culture, our practices are not important, or like you're trying to put us into other cultures instead of our own. Yes, so I ask y'all to please vote no to close LEAP. Thank you.
Thank you, Quay. Next, three speakers are Molly Packard, Russell Packard, Ajwa Haja.
Hi, my name is Molly. I work as a special education teacher's assistant in both the BioSmart program and dual immersion programs at Paul and Sheila Wellstone Elementary. I'm heartbroken that this plan would take away the most wonderful work environment that I have ever experienced, but I would rather talk about the students than my own personal reasons that I don't want Wellstone to close. That's what's important, and that's what we're here to talk about today, is these students. I wanted a chance to speak so that I can inform the board that these are not two separate schools. We are a unified community that shares resources, staff, classrooms. Special education in particular is merged in many ways. I am frequently working with BioSmart and immersion students at the same time on the same assignments in the same room, and it would be a shame to see these students separated. Secondly, I would like to thank Chief Turner for apologizing for calling our school mediocre. I would also like to give thanks for the honest recognition that the district did not reach out to our school's community while forming this plan at our meeting. The third and final point I would like to make is that in my short 2 years of working at Wellstone, I have met generations of students. Last year, I worked with a 5th grade student, and this year, I am working with his little brother in 4th grade and his little sister in 3rd grade. This is one of the many anecdotal stories that I won't waste the board's time with by listing them. Students on many occasions have also told me, next year you'll meet my little sibling. It will be his first year of school. But I guess those dreams are dashed aside unless you guys vote not to close these schools. And I implore you to vote that because I will vote you out.
Thank you, Molly.
I'm Russell Packard, a SPED TA at Wellstone Elementary, and also a very proud father of a graduate of the St. Paul Public Schools, Molly. So I'm very, very happy to be working at Wellstone Elementary, where I've been for over 7 years. It is a thriving school that maintains consistent high enrollment, even now through COVID. Wellstone's 2 educational programs, Spanish and English, with 94% students of color, many having international backgrounds, interact, creating a unique global learning environment. Families demonstrate their love and commitment to Wellstone by choosing to re-enroll year after generationally, and by maintaining a surprisingly high attendance rate. The Minnesota Department of Education, in their school report card last year, stated that St. Paul Public Schools' average attendance rate was only 82.5% but while Wellstone was 86.2%, surpassing even the state's average of 85.3%. Wellstone's diverse staff also show their love and commitment to the school with a high rate of retention. SPS recently lost 5% of its students to private and parochial schools, leaving only 62% of St. Paul's children in public schools, in comparison to 90% nationally. This should have been a wake-up call to the board, requiring action. Instead, the board has chosen to aggravate the problem by closing some of its most popular and needed schools, planning to force so many students to relocate without first communicating with the affected families. That is ridiculous. Minneapolis Public Schools recently tried something similar in their comprehensive district plan and design, and tragically they lost about 1,500 students. Can we afford to do the same? After COVID, SPPS is creating more instability. Parents, students, and staff are asking, why us? And why now? And if their voices matter to the St. Paul Public School Board. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Russell.
Hello, my name is Haja. I came to Minnesota from Ivory Coast. I speak French. Please don't close Leap High School. I want Leap to stay open because the teachers are very patient and I really learned something at Leap. When I came here, I couldn't pronounce any English, but because of Leap, I was able to speak in English. Please don't close Leap High School because it's the best school. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Haja. Next 3 speakers are Ann Lowe, Matthew Kane, Mulanish Kane.
Good evening. My name is Ann Lau. I'm a St. Paul resident, and I've been a teacher in the St. Paul Public Schools for 30 years. This is my 30th year. I'm a teacher at Leap High School. I've been there for 16 years. And I just want to say good evening to all of you. Good evening, Superintendent Gothard. Good evening, Director Vu. Good evening, Director Ellis. I know you've been to some of our programs that we've had. I know Director Vu was out at our school this week. Superintendent Gothard, you have come to many of LEAP activities and things like that. Director Broderick, welcome. Thank you for welcoming me here. I know you're a former teacher from Como. Director Komp, good evening, and Director Carrillo, good evening. I'm a friend of I know your wife. I'm a learning lead this year at LEAP, and she is also a learning lead at Wellstone, and I just want to say hello to you. I just bring you greetings from LEAP High School, where every day students are greeted like this at the door. When they walk in the door, teachers greet students by their name. Teachers at LEAP know LEAP students. 2 weeks ago, from where I am standing right now, district administration told you of a parent who said to them that LEAP did not prepare their child for college. I am here today to tell you, however, that there are many parents, guardians, and family members of LEAP graduates who would tell the district and you, the board, that LEAP has prepared many of its students for college, and in fact has prepared many students to be contributing members of and leaders in this community. LEAP High School graduates are working in the St. Paul Public Schools and in many different fields within our community and beyond. LEAP graduates are teachers, engineers, nurses, and accountants. One LEAP graduate is now a law school graduate. LEAP graduates are entrepreneurs, TAs, EAs, CNAs, EMTs, bus drivers, interpreters, and social workers. Providing students an education at LEAP is a long-term investment in our community. Closing LEAP High School is selling our students and our community short. Respectfully, I urge you to vote no on November 16th to this Envision package, if it includes closing LEAP High School. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Ann.
Hello, my name is Matthew Kane. I'm a proud parent of 3 daughters, Zaina, Liu, Mulu, all at Wellstone Elementary. I'm here to talk about people. I understand numbers, I understand money. My wife would tell you that every day that all I think about is money, and I understand that it's important to be responsible with money. But really, I'm here to talk about people. We, the people of Wellstone Elementary, chose Wellstone. We didn't choose any other school. Not only did I choose it once, but I chose it 3 times here. We choose it every day when we drop off our kids. We choose Wellstone when they come home talking about what they learned in science and in math. We choose Wellstone every time my daughters tell me about culture class and American history. We even choose Wellstone when there's a problem in the classroom and I have to call. My family has chosen Wellstone every year since 2016. Now you are telling us that we will no longer have that choice and that we do not have the time to discuss another solution. Diverse voices make America great. Choice makes America great. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew.
Hello, my name is Mulunesh, and I am in 4th grade from Wellstone. I don't want Wellstone to close because people are there, they help you, they care for you, they love you, and everyone anywhere, everyone in Wellstone and everywhere in public schools, they all love you and respect you. Thank you.
Thank you, Molinesh. Next 3 speakers are Carmen Velasco, Lynn Niming, Paula Copeland. Okay. Sign up.
Hi, I'm Carmen. I am Latina. Like a Latina, it's very important that my children to learn my language, Spanish. I really love they to be bilingual because it is my best wish. It is very important for me to have a school near to my house in my neighborhood. We don't need only one immersion Spanish school in the west side, in the other side of the city. We need to keep our school. Even though my children started in September in pre-K in Wellstone, I love that school. When I come for the first time, I just feel like I come to my house, like I come to my country. Everybody welcome me and everybody speak my language. That is a great thing for me. It is so sad that you are deciding to close schools in this time of the pandemic. It is not only one or two families that will be affected. There are hundreds of families that will be affected for this decision if you close schools or if you move children to different schools. It is going to be thousands of children coming to in other schools that are already packed. It is going to be a high level of risk increase for the COVID and for all this issue. It is also so sad for families. I don't know if you think in family feelings, in children's feelings, how this decision is will affect it to all of us, to all of them. We are hundreds of family. I think no one in any school, those one that you want to close it, want to be closed. I don't think anyone is going to be voting for just close my school. No one will be do that. Please think on that and think on us. We want our schools to stay open. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen.
Hello. Hello, every one of gentlemen and ladies. My name is Lim. I'm from Burma, South Asia, and I've lived in here in Twin City for 20 years. And I'm a single father for 3 kids. And I just want to speak here tonight. Want to support the Western to be alive. And I can prove you that been here for 20 years, and due to the family struggling, moving around, switching the kids to school, another school, and in the past, I have seen all my kids that have learned or study from and bring the bad word or the impolite not word to home to a family. And right now we have moved to Western School. I've been about 2-3 years, and I can prove you that all my kids have learned and have studied and bring all the nice word to our home, our family. And I think the most important, our human being, our community is. Most people are talking about education, education, and then yes, I agree with that. And then also, I have seen Western have high education, and the high education will support and improve when the kid grow up for safety, for environment, and the other things for the physically, verbally characteristic. This is most important for our community. I 100% here to save a Western Elementary School to be alive. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
Thank you, Lynn. I will name off the next 3 speakers: Zin Yenda, Dara, Josiah Carrillo.
Hello, my name is Dara Jamal, and I like Wellstone, and I'm 2nd grade. And Wellstone's good for me because Wellstone's my first time, and I'm born at Dallas, Texas. So this is my first time at Dallas.
Thank you.
This is my first time at Wellstone, but I like it, but sometimes.
My name is Josiah. What you don't know is that if you close Wellstone, it will be a really big problem. When I was in first grade at a different school, there was a huge bullying problem. I was angry at a lot of people. My mom was working at Wellstone, so I switched schools. When I went to Wellstone, I felt safe. It seemed like all those problems had disappeared into thin air. My teacher was so good at helping me solve problems, soon I wasn't angry anymore. If you close Wilson, it'll be a problem for a lot of people in the North End. Wilson is the only Spanish school in the North End. It would be hard for people on the North End to get to Adams or Riverview. There will only be 2 Spanish immersion schools left in St. Paul, both on the South End. Everyone deserves a safe school. Please don't close Wellstone.
Thank you, Josiah. Next three speakers are Abdullahi, Matt Olson, Anna Peters.
Hi, my name is Abdullahi and I'm in 5th grade at Highwood Hills. I love my school because everyone is included in it. This school's location for us as students is easy to get to. This school helps us get jobs done and helps us do our jobs efficiently. I believe we can have a good future as one team. We need to help everyone, no matter their background or languages. We care about our education in Highwood Hills, and we care about the closing of our schools. It is important we have a good education system in Highwood Hills. Please do that for our communities. Thank you for supporting Highwood Hills.
Thank you, Abdullahi.
Hello, my name is Matthew Olson. I'm a North End resident and a music teacher at Leap High School. I'm mainly here to voice the concerns and experiences of 2 former Leap students who thought they were going to get priority to speak at the last meeting as students and were not able to speak. Both of these students, after moving to the United States, attended one of the larger St. Paul high schools. They were in language programs, so they had some ELL classes, but many of the classes were not designed to support them. One of my students described the experience as this. The bell would ring in the morning, he would show up at class, and his head would kind of turn back and forth, and he'd look around the class, lost for 50 minutes until the bell rang. He'd wander to his next class. He'd be in a room where nobody else spoke the same language as him, and he would do the same thing. He literally wandered through high school, completely lost, after just moving to this country as a refugee. Imagine that. Imagine the loneliness of that, the isolation. You would not feel supported by your state, by your country, or by your district if you were experiencing that. Students at LEAP experience an environment where they are surrounded by students that are experiencing that exact same thing, that same trauma, that same isolation. And it creates an environment of support where they feel a sense of belonging. And we know that when students feel a sense of belonging and feel at ease, they learn more. Our staff at LEAP is a trauma-informed staff. We are culturally responsive. It's not a part of our curriculum. It's not embedded. It's not a class or two. It is the core principle of our high school, is that we support this type of learning. We learned about the Envision Plan at the same time as our students. We were given a stack of papers. We handed them out to students, and we read them ourselves, and we said, wow, that's pretty crazy. I wish they would have done this a different way. We're willing to make compromises. We're willing to be cheaper. We're willing to have larger class sizes. We're even willing to relocate or co-locate with other schools. But nobody has talked to us about any of this. We aren't given those options. So you have to vote no. This timeline is obviously untenable, it's chaotic, you have to vote no for the immigrant families, the refugee families of St. Paul. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, members of the board. My name is Anna Peters. I'm a parent of 2 daughters at Galtier Community School. Galtier, in my opinion, has kind of a special sauce that has kept us strong despite some pretty significant structures that have prevented us from growing. So first, to begin with, what I love about the school is that all the grown-ups in the building know my kids' names. The building itself is amazing. The studios are open and welcoming, and they foster interaction between the grades. We have a great new principal who I think deserves a fighting chance. The structures that have stunted our growth, to begin with, we have a tiny catch zone, and we have this lopsided structure with 2 kindergarten classes and then 1 section for each grade above that. So where do those kindergarten students go? And if families with older children who want to enter the school, they're turned away. We actually overfilled first grade this year, and we asked for support. We didn't receive the support, and so families left. That's what happens. I've lost track of the friends that my daughter has lost to other schools because teachers are spread so thin. They're doing everything. They're wearing all the hats. They wear all the hats. And despite all of that, we have actually maintained a relatively steady enrollment, and we grew since last year. I don't know how many schools can say that they grew last year, including the schools that are called sustainable. So if charter schools are drawing families to them because families feel safer, or their kids feel they belong there, or they're more welcome there, then St. Paul Public Schools needs to learn from what they're doing. Are charter schools drawing them in because they have more black and brown teachers? Are their classrooms more culturally responsive so their kids feel truly understood? Middle schools grew, am I right? St. Paul Public Schools grew middle schools. Something is working. Families feel like they can go somewhere. So I think that a full assessment needs to be done to learn these lessons, learn what is working that makes people feel safe, and then create a growth plan. Before there's any recommendation to close any schools, create a growth plan so that we can grow these community schools that are in these low-income neighborhoods where the closures are being planned. Or we're going to find ourselves in the same spot in a few years. So you can close schools in order to build efficiencies into the system, but you are sacrificing school cultures like ours, and there is a true cost to that. I would like a well-rounded education for my kids too, and for all of their friends at Galtier. So when the district can figure out how to make families and kids feel like they belong and they're safe in our schools, that should be possible. That well-rounded education should be possible at Galtier too. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. I will name the next 3 speakers: Antonio Rodriguez, Aya Shong, and Bashi Asmul.
Sorry. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. My name is Santiago Rodriguez. I'm a parent of Galtier Elementary School. Anna Peters is my wife. This is our second kid, Julia. Well, let me tell you how I feel about Galtier. And maybe many parents feel the same as me. That for the district, our kids are second-class kids. These second-class kids for these poor schools in a poor neighborhood, well, let me tell you, they are not second-class kids. And we are here fighting for their future because they deserve better and they deserve your help. For years at Galtier, never got music teacher. We never got art teacher. We don't have resources that other schools have. Full-time counselor, 2 classes for each grade, enrichment. And you might say we don't get the resources of the money to get the extra help because we don't have enough enrollment. Well, let me tell you something super basic that everybody knows. If we have those resources, I swear that the enrollment will go up and the families stay at Galtier and many of these schools that you want to close. And just like those first class kids on those first class school, they need resources. And please stop playing the chicken or egg game. If you don't have enrollment, you don't have a support. Just you are hurting kids and you're hurting families. Let me tell you an analogy that I hope everybody understands. The easy way to put it is these schools are like we're having car race. Some kids have really fancy cars, really well equipped cars. And the schools like Altiero, we have a 3-wheels cars. We don't have enough support. And we can make it, and we're gonna finish that race. It's gonna be so hard to compete with those fancy cars around us. And during the Envision presentation, the presenter said that Galtier was ready to close years ago, and you keep it open and you give them support. And some of you asked what kind of support you gave to Galtier, and she mentioned flyers. Flyers is not the kind of support that we need. We need teachers. Okay, you give them the resources, give them support, not only flyers, and you invest in the great principal that we have right now at Galtier, and invest in the amazing teacher that we have at Galtier. Believe and invest in our community, and invest especially in those kids that need us and that need your support. Please don't delay the vote and Envision plan. I hear somebody wants to delay the vote. Please vote no. And work on those schools and work on those kids. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Antonio.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Iya Shong. I am a former student of Leap High School. I graduated in 2018, earned my associate degree in business from Century College 3 years later, and I am now a transfer student at St. Catherine University, earning my business administration. Moving away from home in 2015, Leap was the place that made me feel like home again. It was not only give me education, but also prepare me for the new life in this country. All the teachers there believed in me, supported me, and encouraged me to reach for my goals and to thrive in this new country. It is a small school, yet a safe place where everyone knows each other, and I have never felt left out, which I don't think I would have experienced this at any other school. We share cultures, food, love, support, and care for one another like a family. And I strongly believe that every student at least would have felt the same. It is heartbreaking for me to be here and know that we are here to decide whether or not to close the school, a school where it is home for many new immigrants. I think we should come together and work together to better a place like this, and to make sure it continues to serve and welcome new immigrants like me, because I believe they need the same foundation that I received. Please take my words into consideration and please don't close Leap. Thank you.
Thank you, Iya. Next three speakers are Denali Massey, Jacqueline Thomas, Jennifer Davis. They are still not here. Next three speakers are Bashi Osmule, Joe and John White, Sandy Lucas.
Nyajong, Marhaba, Namaste, Assalamu alaikum, Hola, Ni hao, hello, board members, Dr. Gothard, and all of the people who are here to support their students. I want to thank, before I say anything, I want to thank these people up here who have been so kind and gentle and generous with all of the people that have shown up with their kids. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very, very kind. I am a St. Paul resident, and I'm also an educator at Leap High School. I just have a question that keeps coming to my mind. What does closing the only school in the capital of our great state that is dedicated specifically to welcoming and educating older, new to the country immigrants and refugees say to our city and our state and our students and their families about how we treat our most vulnerable citizens? That's an important question to consider. I would also very briefly like to reiterate the Highwood Hills woman, her comment about placement. And I think you need to take a look at the placement center. That is your first touch with a lot of new people to our district. We are 16,000 students down, and I wonder how many of those students tried to get in through placement and just said, forget this. It has not been a good experience for many of our new to the country families who don't speak English at all. And I think that needs to be remedied for all of our families. Thank you for your hard work, and be well.
Thank you, Sandy.
Good evening, directors, superintendent. My name is Joe White. I've been involved with Spanish immersion in St. Paul for over 35 years as a parent, volunteer, and tutor. To give you a time reference, I served on the very first Spanish immersion PTO at Adams and at Webster. And eventually, alongside my son's teacher, a young and enthusiastic Valeria Silva, long before we called her superintendent. I have 4 children who have benefited from the St. Paul Spanish immersion programs, 2 adult children. One's a judge, one's a physical therapist. They use their Spanish every day. I have 2 children who are currently enrolled, and I'd like to thank you for giving me a moment to speak. The Hippocratic Oath, an oath taken by new physicians, admonishes them to first do no harm. I'm hoping that by speaking out today, we can prevent harm from being inflicted yet again on the Wellstone community, and yet again without including the community in the decision process. We've been harmed before. Homecroft, the bilingual LCD program school, was closed and merged with Wellstone in order to make a neighborhood school, quote unquote, out of Homecroft. Wellstone was then, I guess I would say, placed into a downtown property not appropriate to its mission. Then Wellstone was uprooted again and moved to its current site in the North End, where they fit in very well, I believe. Our intent here is not to relive past mistakes, but to learn from them. And we all have lived through the impact of COVID-19 and distance learning. So I think we need to make sure that whatever we're doing right now is the correct thing, smart thing. Wellstone is not just a building. It's an important stitch in the fabric that we're trying to weave to bring us all back together. If we close it, we will lose that fabric forever, along with the hundreds of students who will not continue on to the fate that has been delegated to them. I want to emphasize, please, to the board that they vote an emphatic no to this suggestion and that they learn from past mistakes. I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joe. Going to name the next three speakers. Gustava Hasso, Bashi Asmuel, Jennifer Davis.
Yeah. So my name is Gustavo Rosso. I will try to speak in English. The last time that I was here, I was trying to go with Spanish because it's my native language, but let's try with my broken English today. I believe, that I will try to summarize, my experience with the school. It's really hard to put yourself in somebody else's position when you never experience things critical in your life. And I can be here for like 15 minutes, but I just want to try to individualize what I think, focus and the main, issue that we might have today. Of course, that something might be wrong going on, and I want to make sure that you guys know that we need to make some changes. I don't really think that closing the school is the right decision. We are still dealing with a pandemic in which, for the Latino community, it was a big hit. I don't know if you're aware of that, but we have a lot of people that they don't really have the right documentation. Some of them, they are not working with Social Security in this country. And when things got difficult, they were the first one to get laid off. Many of them, they couldn't even collect a paycheck and everything. And that is like it's something that happens, and it never ends. It's an effect domino. They can know most of the families, the Latino families, I will say, that attend to Wollstone, they cannot predict what's going to happen 30 days from now. They don't know what place they are going to be living, So it's really hard. That's why I say, that it's difficult to put yourself in those people's place because, they live in a very critical time, So, for example, in my son, sometimes, they would like to play with kids, and I have to be asking where Miguelito lives, Maybe Miguelito now is like 20 blocks away in the other direction, because it's moving to a house. So they not only have to be facing that they don't know what is going to be the next house next week or next month or next year, but you also want to now, come up with the idea of closing the school and forcing them to go to live in another place. I think you don't know yet, but you might be creating a trauma on them, that they will never going to forget. Life is already difficult for them, And the most critical part, and I want you guys to think about what I'm going to say, and this part is very clear, is that at this time, of their life, that they are growing with a lot of different traumas and drama in life, that life is difficult already when you are poor. So you are sending the kids that are going to be probably like 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old to a different school in which they might not identify themselves in that school, okay? So guess what? Who is going to win then? The gangs members are going to be waiting for those kids, And this is it's a very sad statistic, but it's happening. If you go to the news, if you see, we are one of the ones that are getting hit by the most. I am sorry I'm running out of time, but I wanted you to double check and think about that, Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Gustavo. Next three speakers, circling back. Jacqueline Thomas, Jennifer Davis, Denali Massey. They are not here. Is there any other speakers signed up? Please bring that new list. There are no other speakers signed up. With no other speakers signed up, we will conclude public comment for tonight. Next, we will provide an overview of the future meeting schedule. The future meeting schedule can be found online at www.spps.org/BOE or by calling our board secretary at 612-434-1105. Our next special Envision SPPS meeting will be held Monday, November 1st, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. and Monday, November 8th, 2021 at 4:30 p.m. Please view the audio stream link online at the board website, www.spps.org/BOE. Our next committee of the board meeting will be held on Tuesday, November 9th, 2021 at 4:30 p.m. Please view the board website for updates or to be added onto the mailing list of public notices. Please contact our board secretary. We invite members of the community to submit public comment through submitting public comments online via public comment, www.spps.org/BOE, or leaving messages with the board secretary at sarah.dalkey@spps.org. Sending email statements to the Board of Education using sb.members@spps.org. Or by attending live public comment during the public hearing on Thursday, November 11th at 5:30 p.m. and prior to the November 16th regular meeting at 5:30 p.m. Members of the public may register for public comment. All right, with that, time is 7:21 and we are adjourned.